It's 6 a.m. I don't need an alarm to wake up because I've been up all night doing research for my project.
Hey, my name is Jean, and this is a day in the life of a software engineer.
As an engineer, it's essential for me to engage in testing all the new release products out there.
Hey, this is all for research. I'm not playing around here. My life as a software engineer is all about efficiency and maximum performance.
By simplifying my wardrobe with all black, I eliminate the need to make trivial decisions about what to wear each day.
This saves me mental energy for more important things like the research I've been doing all night.
Okay, this isn't actually what my day looks like. Do you guys want to see what an actual day in the life of a software looks like? Well, I can show you mine. Hey, my name is actually Jean, and that is about the only thing that was true about the earlier part of my video. If you're new to this channel and don't know me, I was a software engineer for about 15 years, most recently at Facebook, now Meta. I was a software engineering manager there for a long time, and I did resign, but my daily routines are about the same. And plus, when I was working at Meta, I wasn't actually allowed to talk about my work, but now that I'm not there anymore, I'm free to share my experience. So I want to tell you more about my days as a software engineer and how that was different from my days as an engineering manager and how that has changed now that I work from home. But before we get into the daily routines, I do have a favor to ask you. YouTube algorithm really loves to see likes as an indicator that you are interested in watching content like this. So it would really help me out if you would hit that like button. And with that, let's get into the day in the life of a software engineer. When I retired as a software engineering manager, I thought I was going to travel around, but then the COVID hit. It was a bummer for a while, but I realized I've already done a lot of traveling, especially because my last role, I was helping them set up a brand new office in London. So while I was there for a couple of years, I did a lot of traveling. So I was kind of happy to be home. And since then, I have developed a routine that really allowed me to go to bed at a reasonable time, which then allows me to naturally wake up around the same time without an alarm clock. Another stereotype about software engineers is their wardrobe. Contrary to stereotypes, I do actually have a full wardrobe. I like picking out different outfits for different occasions and weather, and I find it a meaningful part of my life. I also own makeup and wear some on a regular basis. I'm wearing some right now. And we don't all look like the characters from the show Silicon Valley in their hoodies. And you do know what they say about software engineers and their coffee. Well, I do fall into that stereotype because I do drink a cup of coffee every morning. First thing I do in the morning is to check my calendar. As an engineering manager, I used to have many days of back-to-back meetings. Meta used to have a no meeting Wednesday policy, which was meant to encourage deep work on Wednesdays, but that rule didn't quite apply to me as a manager. I mostly had meetings back-to-back, and these meetings would be things like one-on-ones with my manager or my reports, meeting with the recruiting team, and my cat loves to join meetings. And nowadays, I spend a big chunk of my days working on my YouTube videos. I usually get in about 2 hours of deep work before breakfast because I do intermittent fasting. And I found that as I get older, it's the best way to maintain a healthy lifestyle and maintain my energy level. Well, when I was going into the office, it was much harder to do intermittent fasting because the breakfast time usually ended around 9 or 10 a.m. depending on the cafeteria. And plus, I usually have to get back to meetings starting at 10 a.m. So I would just make sure to eat something before I jump into those meetings. But luckily, now that my schedule is more flexible, I like to tackle more intellectually challenging tasks in the morning because that is when I am most productive. People often think that software engineers are night owls, which can be true, but I am a morning person. So the morning time is precious to me. Before I transitioned to a manager role as an IC software engineer, I used to really reserve the morning time to do deep coding work because that's when I was most sharpest. And the similar principles apply even nowadays. I tackle whatever tasks that require most focus in the morning. And generally, I work until I'm hungry because once I'm hungry, I'm no longer productive. So usually I have leftovers from the previous night. I like to save the cooking for the afternoon as an activity that I can enjoy, and also it requires less focus. I'll typically make twice as much as I need when I'm cooking to save the rest for the following day. So yesterday I made some tuna salad, and I have that as a leftover. So what I was craving is like a teriyaki mayo type of noodle. I like to also cook a lot of fusion meals based on whatever I'm craving or whatever ingredients I have in the fridge. So that's what I am having today for my brunch. After lunch, I get changed and make my way to the gym, or I go for a run in the neighborhood. My only rule is that no matter what, I go engage in a physical activity for 1 hour a day. So about 3 times a week, I end up going to the gym, and twice a week, I end up running like this. And the other 2 days, I just walked the trail. I'll usually be listening to an audiobook or podcast or researching ideas for my YouTube videos if I'm at the gym on a stationary bike. And I have been pretty active for about past 8 years or so. I noticed that as I hit my 30s, I really couldn't get away with not working out. And there have been times where my routines would fall off and I get sick or I'm traveling, and sometimes I just won't have time to fit in a workout. But I've always been able to pick it back up. It's just one of those things that you notice a big difference in the quality of my days if I don't do it. So when I was in the office, I used to work out at the gym every weekday. We had a really nice gym in the office, and I even worked with a physical trainer for a while, and it was something that you would have to pay for on your own. It is an extra cost, but subsidized heavily by the company. And another thing I do miss is the access to the spa. We could get our nails done, facials, massages, which were perks that I used regularly. When I get home from the gym, if I'm hungry, I'll make a juice. We got this Huron juicer a while back, and I have been making lots of juices. In the office, I usually would hit the micro kitchen. I would eat bananas, crackers, nuts, or whatever seemed like the healthiest option that would be available that day. Then I would go back to work. As a software engineer, I would usually work on tasks that require less focus in the afternoon, like working on documentation or code reviews. And as a manager, I will continue with my meetings. When I used to go into the office, it was common to be in the office from 9 to 6 or 7, and that is including time for breakfast, gym, and sometimes even dinner. We used to have a large bar set up in the office area, so people would often get together for happy hour drinks around 5 o'clock or so. I often stay for dinner because I'd be too fried to cook anything when I get home. Coding is really rewarding, but it does require a lot of energy. And same with meetings, it can be pretty tiring, so I would often be really tired by the evening time, and luckily nowadays, I do have more energy in the evening to make dinner. And today I felt like having some pasta. I know it's a noodle heavy day, but sometimes the body needs what it needs. And I don't know if my day looks very different from someone who isn't a software engineer. I think every software engineer may be slightly different, but many are interested in continuous improvement and probably appreciate personal growth. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't want to be in this industry when you're always learning new skills. My lifestyle has also changed a lot in the past 8 years or so in my 30s, and it's definitely very different from my 20s. I would say it's a little bit more intentional, or at least I try to be more intentional. I don't spend a lot of unnecessary time chasing things that aren't as important to me anymore. I used to think it was so important to attend all the networking events and go out to all the social events and double book my evenings and fill up my calendar with social outings. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to develop deeper relationships with people that I really care about and cultivate it. And I still have my social outings. I have friends I go out. but it's more likely to be like happy hours instead of late night partying, so I can still go to bed at a reasonable time. I also start usually winding down around 8:30 in the evening. This is when I put a hard stop on my food and liquid intake. And I didn't like read or learn this online or read from books or anything. I just experimented a lot with different types of schedules, and I learned that this is the schedule that works really well for me, and it really helps me get in much deeper sleep, which also gives me energy throughout the days. A new thing I have added to my evening routine is a meditation. I've been doing a challenge for December to meditate every day, and I'm hoping to make a YouTube video about this later. But usually after my wind down routine and my meditation, I would do some light stretching for about an hour or an hour and a half sometimes even, and I would be listening to audiobooks if I'm feeling still energetic. But if I'm feeling a little tired, then this is time for me to watch TV and relax. And then it's lights off. Thanks so much for watching.